Bread and butter pudding, a classic for me over the years, has served me well. But many variations of it, from the likes of white chocolate and cranberry to a croissant bread and butter pudding list with Baileys. Um, Today I'm going to revamp this. Now I think most people's visions of bread and butter pudding is a traditional one, where I've seen, even myself, I've seen it, speckles of this currants, which have just gone rock solid, scattered on the top of it, just ghastly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revamp this pudding into something a bit more luxurious and a very, very indulgent treat. In front of me here, I've got a loaf. Most recipes ask for stale bread. Now that word stale to me is sort of off-putting. So I'm just going to use the word slightly older. A couple of days older, which gives a drier finish to the pudding itself for what I want. I'm going to take a nice slice of our bread. And we're going to remove the crusts. Now we can actually reserve the crust for breadcrumbs, so nothing goes to waste. I'm going to take a rolling pin, and I'm just going to gently roll it out just quickly. Not too hard with it, it will come back. In front of me here are my ingredients. I've got some chocolate spread, some chocolate chips, cocoa powder, icing sugar, 3 large eggs, and vanilla. So I'm going to take my chocolate spread, and I'm going to cover the whole slice of bread. I want it to the edges. I can't be doing with a half-hearted way of spreading things onto bread or toast. Now I'm going to take the loaf and I'm going to roll it into a nice tight Swiss roll. You can see there a couple of cracks, but that's not a bad thing. It's going to seep out. Now I'm going to take my wee Paddocks dish. I'm going to take the Swiss rolls and tuck it in to our dish. Now the idea for this sort of evolved. I've taken one of my good friend's ideas from another pudding and transformed it into this bread and butter pudding. So just a couple of mil between each one. Just gonna squeeze that in there. And perhaps just a smaller one. Just squeeze that in there as well. So we've got a wee bit of a gap there. I'm going to set that aside for the time being and go on to our custard. 3 large eggs to start off with. I know a lot of custards ask for just the yolks, but I'm going to use the whole eggs. Using just the yolks gives it more of a velvety feel. But okay with that today. 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using the icing sugar as it's closer to hand. 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And a whisk. And I just want to get that together. for me. Don't worry, look at scrambled mess just now. There we have it, it's all coming together just now. And again, the thing with icing sugar is it doesn't take long to dissolve. You can see already how lovely and velvety it is. Teaspoon of vanilla. Now to speed this up, I've got some half milk, half cream here. We've got 450 ml, and what I've done is I've heated it up, so when I add it to this, the chocolate Swiss rolls, it's going to go into the oven and start cooking right away, rather than going in cold and sitting there going waiting to be cooked. So by the time to speed things up, so hot milk and cream goes in. We have our chocolate custard. Another point I should have said was we should have greased the dish. Not a big deal, but if you're going to do this, just a light greasing of butter on the bottom. To this we want to add a few choc chips. And we want to take our custard and just through the sieve evenly over our chocolate Swiss rolls. Yeah, that'll catch any rogue lumps of cocoa powder or bits of egg. Now we just want to make sure that all is immersed in the custard. Just push it down. There we have it. Now what I want to do is I'm going to leave that just for 5 minutes. So what will happen is the bread will suck up the custard and it'll almost souffle as it is before it even hits the oven. So we'll come back to that very shortly. So now 5 minutes is up. You can see that the bread has really soaked up that chocolate custard. In the preset oven, 170 degrees, 20-25 minutes. So there we have my chocolate bread and butter pudding just out of the oven. You can see how it's well risen now, but unfortunately that will collapse. But it'll still be light and airy and fluffy. There we go, look at that. You can see how the bread has really soaked up that chocolate custard. The Nutella is just holding itself in our makeshift Swiss rolls. And just to add a bit more luxury to it, a good drizzle of pouring cream. There we have something so simple out of basically a couple of days old bread. Not stale. Enjoy.